You sold your baby and they're the boss now. It's not yours anymore. So that's the challenge, and that's an ego issue.
Imagine going from prison to selling your roofing company for $38 million.
Yeah, I don't do that mass onboarding stuff. It doesn't work. It's quality over quantity.
This isn't your typical business success story.
The hardest thing for me was not out there leading from the front, losing control of that.
With discipline, leadership, and the right mindset, anyone can rebuild their life and build something extraordinary.
We're not bosses. A boss hangs up the phone at 6:01. A leader answers the phone at 11:30 at night when they're in crisis.
This is AI and Marketing for Home Service Pros, the show for contractors who want to grow without wasting time or money. If you're in roofing, HVAC, plumbing, or any home service business, we break down how AI and modern marketing can help you book more jobs, close more leads, and build a business that runs without babysitting every task.
Imagine going from prison to selling your roofing company for $38 million. That's the story of today's guest, Raymond Little, the former owner of Perimeter Roofing, now a partner at Storm Ventures Group. His journey isn't just about making money. It's about redemption, leadership, and what it really takes to scale a business from the ground up. In this episode, Raymond shares how he went from sweeping floors after rehab to building one of the fastest growing roofing companies in the country, doing over $200 million in sales, and eventually selling to private equity. We talk about what PE firms actually look for when they buy a roofing company, how to build leadership that scales, and the hard truth about what happens after you sell your baby. Raymond also breaks down how he trained his salespeople one-on-one, not just to sell, but to become better leaders, fathers, and human beings. You'll hear how his eat what you kill mentality shaped his organization, how his team used social media as a digital door knocking machine, and why culture, not leads, is a real competitive advantage. We also dig into the future of roofing, from AI and automation to private equity's growing role and professionalizing the industry, and how Raymond's new mission at SVG is helping the next generation of contractors grow faster, smarter, and stronger than ever before. This isn't your typical business success story. It is proof that with discipline, leadership, and the right mindset, anyone can rebuild their life and build something extraordinary. What's up, everybody? This is Mauricio Cardinal with Contractor Marketing Pros, and I'm here with Raymond Little, owner of Perimeter Roofing, also owner of SVG. Super excited to have him on. He has an amazing story. And welcome to the AI and Marketing Home Services Show. Welcome, Raymond.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Well, doing good, man. Doing good. Met you a few years ago. I've seen your growth, and amazing that you had an exit a few years ago. That's the first thing I want to talk about. You sold Perimeter Roofing for $38 million a few years ago, right? Let's start at the beginning, right? How did you get into roofing, and what was the key from scaling, right, from startup, right, with you and your founder, to $200 million in sales the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, I got into roofing. Basically, one of my friends was in roofing, and I was working in a warehouse, sweeping floors and cleaning bathrooms, to be honest with you. And they kept pulling in these big roofing trucks. Justin Simpson and Todd Price actually were pulling in to get truck work, and I was fresh out of rehab, and came from prison to rehab and was rebuilding my life. And I was working at a auto parts place that did lifts for trucks and accessories. So they kept pulling in. I was like, hey, dude, I knew Justin for about 20 years. I was like, bro, I was in a dead end job here, and I've been sober over 3 years. I need an opportunity, and he gave me that opportunity.
Amazing. Did you have a sales background before that?
I had sales background before that. Poor behavior. Yeah, trafficking drugs and selling drugs.
Awesome. So you came in with that experience, and you didn't have any construction or roofing experience before that?
No, sir. Not any.
Wow. So you're still relatively new. That's amazing, because compared to other people who've been in the space 20 years, right? Or 30 years, right? Some people have been in the space a long time, right? That's amazing. So what was the moment you knew it was time to sell? And how did you know your company was ready for private equity?
That's a good question. That's a loaded question, actually. Well, I was getting older. I was, it took us about, let's see, when they first contacted us, I was 45 years old. Out there leading from the front, climbing every day with my team while they were knocking. I'm climbing, I'm training, doing contracts, cougar paws on every day, out in the field 12 hours a day. I had been out in the field 12 hours a day at that point, I think about 6.5 years. Been in 9 states. Not spending any time with my family or my son. Making a killing though, making about 7 figures a year. So that wasn't the problem. Just where I was at. As far as education wise, where I was at with my background, right, my criminal background. An opportunity like this for somebody that can't read and write that good, is just a hell of an opportunity. So that's the math I used on selling for what we sold for.
Yeah. And you had a certain number though, right? Did you have I'm curious, did you have a certain number when you first started talking about this? Hey, this is the number I'm looking at, or you just didn't have that in mind?
Nah, because I already had 7 figures in my account, and my house was paid off, and I had 3 rental properties, and I had some nice cars. So not really. I just needed that little lump sum, to get. I kind of did the math. I wanted, $4 or $5 million after paying taxes in my account. I figured I could make it on that, live 20 more years, live reasonable. All I do is run and ride bikes. Don't drink, don't go out, anything like that. So I just, I didn't even have a number, man. Yeah, you got some good questions. I didn't have a number, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of freestyling like I did my whole life. I was like, yeah, that'll work,
Yeah. So if you have that after the taxes, so you did the math, because I think if you sell, right, big capital gains, it's like 35% taxes, right? So if you get, for example, if you do 10 million in sales, if you sell it for 10 million, you're gonna take away like 3.5 million, right? So you have to do that math, right? And if you have like the math, right, 4 to 5 million or 6 million after taxes, you can live. You just send on S&P 500 and make like at least 500,000 a year, just not even doing anything, just passive income, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and the taxes aren't too bad on the sales because it's actually an asset transfer. So it's not as much. It's like 20% or 15 or 20%. It's not that bad. You just got to be smart, and like as long as I can buy, the newest mountain bike out and, go to the grocery store and pay my insurance, I'm pretty good, really. I keep it kind of simple. I don't have really a bunch of nice clothes or anything.
Yeah. And a lot of private equity companies are doing multiple deals with the same apple. Are you taking multiple bites at the same apple? Is that what they're calling? Are you doing that as well?
No, so we were the platform. They bought us, and then when they buy in, I have options to buy more stock so I don't get diluted. I did that a couple times because I don't want to get diluted. But yeah, I just, I've been blessed, bro. I mean, not only did I sell my roofing company, I sold my call center to them too. So I'm just really on cruise control now, just trying to take care of my health.
Got it. For contractors dreaming of an exit, what does private equity actually look for when they buy a roofing company? Let's talk about size, leadership, brand, systems, all that stuff.
Yep. So $10 million or more, clean books, CRM in place. Can the company run without you? Is it sole dependent on you? Can the company run without you? Scalability, visibility, good brand, social media presence, good marketing presence, and then good numbers, as far as profits.
Yeah, and you guys were because this is an argument that I see with a lot of contractors between retail and insurance. You guys were mainly insurance based business, right? So that really wasn't a factor, right, in the sale, or was it a factor?
Yeah, 99%. We get a retail here and there, but we were all insurance based.
Got it. So the platform, just to give you some context, right? A lot of people have this argument between retail and insurance. For them, they're okay with insurance. It was okay, even though with the changes industries, right? They were okay with it because their business was based on that, and it didn't affect the final outcome, right?
Yeah, I don't. When people I don't know what people are talking about when they talk about that. We'll dive a little bit into that. I mean, if there's a mortgage on the house, there has to be insurance. So the insurance isn't going nowhere because nobody can afford to buy their house.
Yeah, the argument that they use is basically a lot of private equity. They go for retail based business because it's more repeatable versus an insurance, which is more dependent on the weather. And with the changing regulations with insurance, they might get scared because of that. I don't know if that's true or not. That's the argument.
Yeah, that was just I think that's a rumor.
Got it. Because I spoke to this other guy in private equity, Brian Franco, last couple of weeks ago, and he said that it doesn't matter. He said it
It
doesn't
doesn't matter.
matter.
As long as the revenue's there, brother, they gonna chase it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing you have to understand. I think isn't it like if you have both, like if you have, because you guys are in a store market, right? But if you guys were in a different market, it might be a little bit different, right? Like it just depends on the market, right?
Yeah, I think they like 80% insurance, or 60, 70, 80% insurance. They like to have a little retail in there, and shingles. But like I said, they watch the margins. For private equity buying these platform companies, if you're a platform company, it's their first time buying into roofing. They might have 70, 80, 90 other platforms, these bigger firms do. But yeah, it's different, right? Because all scopes pay different, so that they look at that, and that's really weird to them, because there's no set square price. What pitches are and everything, and how the money comes in. Some insurance companies pay 5 weeks, with the supplements afterwards, and some pay, they'll send you send the COC and you get the check a different week. So it's definitely been different for private equity, because it's like no other business. The only thing you can compare it to is really mitigation and maybe collision.
Got it. What surprised you most about working with private equity, both the benefits and the challenges?
The benefits, the scalability, what I learned before I left, because I'm not there anymore. I haven't been there in about a year. I'm on a monthly thing that I have worked out with them. But my team took over. I mean, it's definitely different, especially since I'm more of a street guy and was out there climbing from the front. I was the owner operator that still made calls from the field. So that was big for me. There's been, definitely challenges, right? The challenges are just, you sold your baby, and they're the boss now. It's not yours anymore. So that's the challenge, and that's an ego issue. But yeah, it's growth, right? With growth comes change. With change comes problems. Still the best decision I ever made for me. But the stuff I learned though on how to run a business right, 1099 versus W-2, what you can tell a 1099, what you can do a W-2, what we were doing wrong, they come and fixed. Because like I said, we were just three dudes that started a roofing company a couple years ago, and no college degrees, no business classes. I'm straight from the streets to roofing. So just the challenges of C-suites coming in and kind of changing the rules a little bit and shaping it up and professionalizing it, and get the slang and the thug out of it. You know what I mean? Get that out of it. Make it professional. It's growth for everybody.
What were some of the things that you learned that you think, hey, that was good things they're doing on the business side?
Yeah. What you can provide for a 1099 subcontractor, what that really looks like. You can offer them stuff. You can't tell them what to do. You can't buy them cards. You can't buy them shirts. There's stuff in that. And you can't tell them where to be. You can't tell them where to what classes to be at, or so I learned a lot about that. Also learned you can't wrap trucks and stuff like that. You can't do this and do that. But I learned what you couldn't, or what you were not supposed to be doing. And then also learn about KPIs and different things and marketing and stuff like that, that they bring to the table. The scalability, they buy the companies, and you got to integrate them and change that company's CRM over. Man, it was really a wild ride, bro. Just a wild, and still wild, from what I hear from my guys. They're over $200 million a year company now, and I actually got to pass the torch to my top guys there, and they're running the show now. I'm kind of out of the loop, and they're the bosses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And the goal, like, because I heard you on a different podcast, is the company is like Rafter, right? Rafter Exteriors, and so like different brands. I know they made an acquisition earlier this year with Golden Roofing. The goal is to get to a billion, right? Is that the goal? Like to get to a billion?
To a billion. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And you're on the way to get there. And I think there's other guys that are reaching on the residential side and the roofing side. They're almost there. Some of the other guys. So it's exciting to see how that's going to happen. There's the pros and cons. A lot of people talk negative about what's happening, but I think you have to change it with the times, right? You have to see what's going on, right? In terms of the psychology, right? This is a big factor with a lot of entrepreneurs, right? They don't have control anymore. How was that dealing with that? Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, that was tough for me. For me, when people say, it ain't about the money anymore and stuff like that. That's a hard thing for me even to say. But the hardest thing for me was, not out there leading from the front, and training my guys and making sure everything was fine, and making sure, the revenue went up, losing control of that. even as a stockholder is tough. You know, it was a big void for me. As far as personally, I enjoy developing people. You know, when they come in the door, they really don't have anything. They might have a car, you know, and that's it. And, you know, we're check to check. And to actually sit there and develop somebody and teach them a trade and, you know, watch them buy their truck. And then, you know, they're with a girl and all of a sudden, you know, she was working and now she stops working, and they buy a house and the girl turns into a wife and then they have kids and, you know, watching that whole process, you know, because their income's going up and that they learned it a trade, you know, watch them go from, you know, just a guy with a girlfriend with a car and an apartment to a guy with a wife and a house and some rental properties and a portfolio and a truck and, you know, having kids and the stability. That was the biggest thing for me that I lost, right? So that I don't get to do that anymore. You know, now my guys are still doing that. You know, my guys that are running the show now, are still doing that. They're still developing these guys and, you know, carrying them to the next level and teaching them a trade. But for me personally, losing that, you know, was, you know, had me kind of lost for a couple of years now. And, you know, until I got, you know, I bought SVG with Josie.
Yeah, yeah. And how did you actually train? Were you looking? I'm curious about. Can you talk more about that? Like, were you hiring inexperienced people, people with experience, like people with work ethic? What did you look for when you hire somebody like that's starting in sales?
Yeah, I like a green guy, maybe sometimes a second chance guy. Long as they were sober, I could work with them. I didn't hire, you know, or, you know, choose to use their services or 1099. If they were big drinkers, partiers, you know, I bring them in. I don't want other guys from other roofing companies. I want guys that never been in roofing before, maybe a second chance guy that appreciates the opportunity that he's getting. I like to bring them in and I put them in the truck with me and I get them their first, you know, couple deals or 10 deals or 5 deals or whatever, you know, until they get it. But I only train, you know, 2 or 3 guys at a time and until I got them going and got their pipeline built up. And then I'd take 2 or 3 more on. So I trained them by actually doing the whole process with them, until they actually got it.
Do you actually train them basically how to run the business, like from the beginning, from
Train them too good. You see all the companies that spun off.
yeah. And that was actually one of my questions that I was going to ask later about that, because that's very common in the roofing space. But you were known for, like, actually, I know a lot of guys did leave and start their own business, but you were known for keeping guys for a long time. How did you do that?
Yeah, so when they were going to outgrow me, we put them in different markets, move them, you know, and they felt like they were ready to take a bigger role or start their own company. I was like, yeah, you start your own company and be the 49% owner in a different state, and I'll keep helping you, and we can build something great together. The ones that, you know, and that's how we did it. You know, we duplicate winning, right? I duplicated myself, and I can go put that person in Nashville. I can go put that person in Columbus, Georgia. I can go put that person in Athens, Georgia. You know, when they started to outgrow me as a salesperson and they would become a market manager or owner, back in the day. And they would be a 49% partner and, you know, we would do the distributions and whatnot. Now, the ones that want to go and start their own name and start their own brand, you know, people are wired that way. I'm still friends with all of them now. I can call any of them up right now. I still joke and in group text with them and everything. Yeah, but probably train them too good. You know, all they had to do is learn to, you know, order their own materials, or hire somebody to do it. But they knew the whole process through and through. And I'm proud to say that all the ones that even aren't with me and left and started their own companies, they're all killing it. We don't have anybody that left this organization that's really a dud.
That's amazing, amazing. So you start them, you basically train them from, you basically two people at a time, 2 to 3 people at a time, and like 2 or 3 months. That's what the process would look like.
Yeah, I don't do that mass onboarding stuff. It doesn't work. It's quality over quantity. You're representing my brand, so you're going to represent it the right way. Not only am I training them on the roof, I'm training them in life off the roof on how to be a man, a father, a leader, a provider. You know, sobriety, fitness. I want a well-rounded individual that represents my brand on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, that's you go, that's above and beyond. I think most business people do not do that, right? If you hire somebody, most people are not gonna, like, taking that person under their wing and really just train them up. So they would meet with you like every single day, and you would take them right along with you and just see you in action and see you the actual, like, hey, this is the process from A to Z. Here's what to do. Here's how to do it, and actually help them get the few sales. You gotta help them with the income as well. Then.
Yeah, I get them their first roofs. I give them my deals, or you know, I'll say, hey, while you're over there in that passenger seat, go ahead and start texting your friends and family, see if we can get on their roofs. but we'll be on the way to one of mine now. You know what I mean? And I'd put that one in their name, and there would be a guy in the back seat, and the second one we went to, I'd put that one in his name. And I would just work the whole process with them. These guys that are in roofing, dude. I mean, look at me, bro. And you know my past. I mean, I did 149 months in prison. We don't learn in the classroom. We learn by doing it. So these guys that are running, that are walking in my office, or back in the day, they don't learn in the classroom. They fell it on my doorstep, as a second chance person, or somebody's changing industries. They don't learn by reading a book or watching it on the screen and taking a test. They learn by actually doing it. So I'd actually do the process all the way through with them until they finally got it, and then I could let them out on their own. Even while I let them out on their own, I was just doing adjuster meetings all day long. So I would do 5 to 10 adjuster meetings a day, or 3 or 4, whatever, how many ever I could get to. And I'd go home at 8 or 9 o'clock every night when the job was done, not when dinner was done.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing. So you said the difference between a $1 million company and $50 million company is leadership. What did leadership look like at Perimeter Roofing, and how did you scale people as fast as revenue?
Yeah, we'll just circle back around what we were talking about. Yeah, I didn't hang up the phone at 6 o'clock. I dealt with their personal problems at night, and develop them. Not only are you going to be a leader at the company, you're going to be a leader in your household. You're going to be a leader, to your kids. You're going to be a leader to the community. Once you start checking all those boxes, you develop $2, $3, $4 million producers every year. It's not just we're not bosses, right? A boss hangs up the phone at 6:01. A leader answers the phone at 11:30 at night when they're in crisis. You know what I mean? When they're arguing, or they're gonna or they want to go drink, or they're having problems at home, or they can't read a scope. So I developed my guys 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We were a community, a culture. We weren't a company.
Yeah, and you said last time we talked, you said you did activities with them, right? You went exercising with them. You went on bike rides. Can you talk more about that?
Oh yeah. We do 3-hour mountain bike races, 50-mile races, 100-mile races, 5Ks, 10Ks. Spartan races. If I spent time outside of outside of climbing the office, up on top of the roof of the office, basically, it was all positive activities. We were either doing charity work, building beds for underprivileged kids, paying off school lunches, running 5Ks together. It was all positive. I mean, that's how I live my life. I got a duathlon I'm running this weekend still, and I don't even work there. But a couple of the guys that still work with Perimeter Roofing, that'll be there. It's a culture, man. That's the difference between a $1 million or $3 million a year company. Is they don't develop the people, they hire employees or hire 1099 subcontractors. We actually develop the people into great people that will be successful if they were out here selling roofs or selling alarm systems or pest control systems, or they're great fathers, great leaders, great providers. We develop the person. It doesn't matter about the industry.
Yeah, yeah. And so the training, accountability you provided them, the leadership, everything you did that with these guys and helped them really produce. How did you scale? How you started with I think like 2 people or 3 people, right? And then you scaled to like 60 people, I think, right? 60 sales guys. Was that the case?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we sold when we sold, we probably had 60 to 80 guys, in the southeastern region, out and about. And I either trained, everyone, I either trained them or I trained somebody that trained the next level, right? So I mean, about 60, probably 60, 70 guys, 80 guys.
60, 70 guys. And what systems you guys were using in terms of were you using AccuLinks?
AccuLinks. I know they're expensive. I know people hate them or whatever, but that's what worked for me. I love them. AccuLinks was the way we scaled. You had to have a CRM. AccuLinks is hate them or love them. That's what we used, and we loved it. And that's how we could control the markets. When a guy outgrew us, or a guy was ready to open his own market, or he wanted to go out on his own, or we give him a market. We did it through AccuLinks, and we did it. We were doing it with 4 people in the office. We had great office people. We only had 4 people in the office, still doing upwards of busting that 9-figure mark with the CRM.
And how did you run your sales organization? Like you had sales managers, right? Sales directors. How can you talk more about that? How did you guys do that?
Yeah, I like to have in a market. I like to have 1 guy per 12 guys. Not managing more than 12. But yeah, the market owner or leader, when they moved out from up under us, would be running the sales team and leading from the front day to day in the field. I like to lead from the front. I don't think handing people T-shirts and contracts is the way to go. If you're a leader in our organization, you had boots in your truck and you were climbing roofs during the day. Until the acquisition, private equity, they do things different, but our leaders are still in the streets, beating doors, climbing roofs, leading from the front to this day.
Got it. Common question, right? You talked about this last time. What are your thoughts between 1099 and W2 sales models? What does it make sense for each 1099?
1099. Look, if you give somebody 60 grand a year base and just say, "Hey, go out and get it," they'll figure out how to live off that 60 grand. If you knock that down to 50 grand, they'll figure out how to live off 50 grand. My whole lifestyle, the way I've lived since 1977, is you only eat what you kill. So we're not an EBT or a welfare system. You survive and you eat what you kill mentality, and that's the difference. You get a lot of W2, you get a lot of complacency, you get a lot of. That's what I'm saying. They'll downgrade their lifestyle before they'll upgrade their work ethic.
And how was your commission? Just curious about this. How was your commission structure set?
10-50-50. Yeah, 10-50-50 split, and you hit different tiers. You sell, you're a company guy and you sell over 10 million, you might be a 50-50 guy. You sell over 5 million, you might be a 5-50-50 guy. Total of the lifetime when you're the company. When my guys hit $1 million for the year, the 10 came off for the rest of the year. And January 1st, the 10 went back on.
Got it. And these guys were self-generating their own leads, right? You weren't providing leads for them?
I had a call center. No, we had setter closer model. It was a setter closer model. It's a mixed model. It's unique, man. It's definitely unique. I had a call center, and man, we were so organic off social media too that all my leads came off social media.
That was my next question. I was gonna.
Yeah. Social media. We had about 7,000 real estate agents in those inspections all day long. We had canvassers that we used to set. We were a setter closer model. Now, but some of my guys they didn't like those leads. They like to beat the doors themselves. So we were a mix up. We were a mix. Now, if we're working a storm, we're going to beat doors. If we're doing a build, we're going to blitz it and we're going to beat the doors on the build and own the neighborhood. But yeah, some of them were just like the leads. But we just got after it every day, whichever way we could.
Yeah. So I want to unpack exactly what you just said right there, because this is very important. One of the most common traits that I see with our clients that are more successful just in marketing is that they squeeze the juice out of every lead, right? So you just mentioned that exactly. So you blitzed the neighborhood after a build. Can you talk about how you did that?
Yeah, so I still do it to this day. When we have a build, it's a good neighborhood to knock. Get out there in front of the build, and we can see the build, and we have our sign in front of the build, and the whole team, the whoever's build it is, they get the 6-pack, which is the one that's being built, the 2 next to it, and 3 across the street. Everybody else, they kill what they eat outside of that, and we own the neighborhood. We brand it. It's our neighborhood. So that's what you got to do. And there's never a bad lead. If the roof's not ready yet, it goes in the CRM. You circle back and you inspect it every 90 days. Put it on a free maintenance program. Go seal the pipe boots up and the nail heads. And if it's a little shingle flip back and it's only one, go ahead and do a free repair. And we'll see that customer every 90 days. You put the lead in. You put the lead in the CRM and set that appointment, and you see them every 3 months, and that'll eventually be a replacement for us.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. I want to talk about the actual, because you just mentioned this on the podcast a couple of years ago. I know you've been doing this for a long time. Is social media, the power of social media, and the power of posting content. I'm talking about organic content, right? Can you talk about that process? How you had your sales guys post organic content from the roofs, and talk about how you did that and how it worked?
Yeah, people buy from people, not a brand, right? They don't care if it was perimeter roofing or duct roofing. They bought from the culture that we created, from healthy guys, good looking, healthy, clean cut. Well, not clean cut, because I'm not clean cut, but healthy guys that were positive influence. We didn't have a lot of partying on Facebook. They weren't out there, holding their beers up and beer ponging or whatever the hell it's called nowadays. I don't even know. I didn't tolerate that with inside my organization. I'm not with that. No arguing on Facebook. No talking about politics on Facebook, vaccines, whatever, Democrat, Republican, whoever. I don't give a damn about none of that stuff. We didn't tolerate any of that. It was just all positivity. We did an inspection. We would just take the phone like this, put it in the story. If the roof was approved, take a picture of it, short little statement. Hey, Allstate bought this roof, State Farm bought this roof. can't wait we're going to be in your neighborhood, tag the location where it's at. And you have 60 or 70 people doing that in a small community. You know what the algorithms do. It's not rocket science. It's just, people have gotten so lazy or gotten their little concept about social media that they can't even tap their little phone 3 or 4 times to make 6 figures a year. That's a mental health problem. That's not that's something different. It's free.
Yeah, yeah. You had so just to recap, because it's important. You got the people listening are understanding. The sales guys became their own marketing engine. They basically are driving their own referrals, and they're not having the company spend their money. And what it does is basically provides the sales team, right, salespeople, like kind of referral leads. That's what it is. You're getting more referrals through that.
All day long. It's the digital door knock. It's the digital knock, bro. And then you can go on, if it's raining, go in your messenger and sit there, and every one of your friends, remind them that, hey, if your roof's over 12 years old, let's get a free inspection. It's a digital door knock and it's free. And if you're too lazy, look, people scroll on Facebook all day long, but won't take a picture of something they just made $4,000 off of and post it to essentially make another $3,000-$4,000, whatever, 10 grand, 100 grand, whatever. But like, bro, you're on there anyways. Why don't you be on there, scroll with intention and make money, or scroll just to like some people's pictures of whatever, their grandkids playing soccer or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever.
And did you have like pushback from reps when they, oh, I don't want to do that, post the stuff on social media, or the culture was okay, the reps are gonna do it because you're gonna make money on that, right?
I mean, they seen it, they drunk the Kool-Aid, they bought in, you know what I mean? Like it was math, you know, hey, this is what we do and we kill it, and they see it killing it. And if they didn't want to post, then, you know, don't post, go beat doors all day. You know what I mean? A lot of them just bought in. I mean, that, you know, it was not rocket science. They're seeing, you know, the when we have a sales meeting, there's probably, I don't know, probably $5 million worth of lifted trucks in, you know, in the parking lot. So I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
And would that help with recruiting too, like recruiting like salespeople?
Yeah, because nobody's gonna come in, you know, in there, you know, looking a certain different type of way than what we already provide. I didn't choose to use some people's services. Listen, if you were big and sloppy, or, you know, on drugs, or not well kept, or, you know, you could be ugly, but long as you took care of yourself was fine with me, right? But if you can't take care of yourself, right, how are you going to take care of this $2, $3, $4 million house? So I only, you know, choose to use people's services that were, you know, more into fitness, more into self-care, more into, personal growth. I mean, you know, we were getting people from the gym, from bike racing, people doing ultra marathons. I mean, that was our culture. So that's what we attracted. You only attract what you do, right? Because, you know, like I said, I'm out there doing 100-mile bike races. I'm out there doing half marathons. I'm out there doing Spartan races. Todd was bodybuilding, you know, so we attract what we were. And we had a great sales team. I mean, you know, and people that came in that weren't there yet, we got them there, right? We got them in the gym. We got them out there running. We got them, you know, taking care of their family. We got them, you know, being healthy. And, you know, they're easier to manage. Healthy people are easier to manage, man. I mean, they're disciplined. They're going to when we used to go out of town and start a market, we'd go in the gym, you know, we go into Planet Fitness because they got them everywhere, right? But I go in there at 9:30, 10 o'clock on Friday night, and that's my tribe. That's who I want working with me. I want highly disciplined people. I'm gonna be selfish right now. They're easier to manage. They sell better. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got to be selfish too. I don't need a bunch of riffraff I'm trying to round up, you know?
Exactly. We talked about this last time. You're bullish on AI, automation. How do you see AI impacting roofing, home services for training, estimating, and supplements? How do you see that?
I mean, for training, I see it, you know, critiquing you on maybe the way you dealt with a homeowner. You know, if it's recording your conversation, it'll give you pointers. It's not going to replace you. I think the back office, the COCs, the supplements, the estimates, I think it will replace that. I just think it will. You know, training, like I said, they already got programs now that'll listen to me, you talk, you know, and they'll be like, well, you could have closed here, or you could have did this, or you could have did that. So I think it's a tool. I don't think it's a replacement. I do think if you are in a cubicle or you're in the back and you're just doing monotonous data entry, I think you will be replaced on that.
How are you, like, you've been in the space for a long time. Like, did you use any of the technology in terms of like like Roofer or Roofo or EagleView? Like, would you guys use any of that stuff
Yeah,
like to
Eagle
measure
View,
roofs?
Eagle View, AccuLinks, Hell, Hell Recon, Pronto, all those apps, right? All those messaging apps and Telegram, what's up? We use all those. When the call center is coming in. Yeah, technology. I mean, we've been on iPads doing our contract since 16 on DocuSign. So yeah, I mean, we've always been a little bit. I always went to Win the Storm and got the newest technology out to manage, large groups of guys. I've never did a pay per contract a day in my life. I've only been in the space now about 10 years. I've never used any paper. It's all been technology. Even Facebook as a lead generation, Instagram. We've always been on top of the tech. Always.
I'm curious about because this is common and more common in the solar space, but I've seen it a little bit more in roofing. Virtual inspections, like virtual inspections where they actually do like you don't do that any of that stuff, no?
No, I don't even. No virtual inspections for me, brother. If my guys can't climb the roof, we're not going to sign it. I don't play games with people's policy. If you can't get up there and see if it's bruised, you're not. No, we're not going to fly a drone and just file a claim on somebody's policy and play Russian roulette with it. I don't. And if you're an adjuster, and we'll pre-mark the roof for you. But if you're not going to deny it from a drone either, we're gonna reinspect that and get some humans up there. I'm not with that. If you can't climb roofs, then go do something else.
Got it, got it. So everything would be in person, right? Everything would be in
Everything's in
person.
person. I just don't flying a drone over your house. I mean, I'm not going to file a claim on somebody's policy based off a drone picture and the carrier too. I'm not going to let you deny a roof because you flew a drone on it. You're talking about there's got to be fracture matting and bruising and all this on these hell claims. So yeah, you're not going to deny that unless you can see that the matting's fractured or you can actually feel that there's a bruise on the shingle. So we're not going to file any claims like that. We're not going to deny any claims like that. If you want to fly a drone over something, then you need to figure out if you're going to Zelle the money or you're going to mail them a check.
Yeah. How did you what was your strategy for dealing with the insurance claim process in terms of like if it got denied, right? Would you have like attorneys on staff? Did you use public adjusters or you just had like how did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I educate the homeowner about their policy, right? So I educate the homeowner about what damage is, and the homeowner is your biggest advocate. I never worried about who the carrier was. If there's spread out damage that's unrepairable, if the shingle is not manufactured anymore, or the repair devalues the property or can't be made uniform in appearance, then we're filing the claim. I'm not worried about anything. If you buy anything on the roof on one of the, and it checks any of those boxes I just said, if they buy anything up there, it's going to be about 35 emails and they're going to send the check.
Got it. Okay. What do you see the next generation of home service companies in terms of a tech adoption? Like, what do you see like with these? What are these private equity companies doing that's new? That's be in the next 5 years that you've seen adopt people and how it's changed the industry?
Well, with private equity coming into it, I think it's going to. So, if you're working for a private equity company, one thing about it, they're going to pay you, right? So we're not going to see that crap on Facebook. Oh, I've worked for 3 companies, none of them paid me. Well, obviously, if you work for 3 companies and none of them have paid you, you're probably the problem. You're the common denominator, right? So I think they're going to professionalize it. If you do what you say you're going to do, private equity is going to do what they say they're going to do. They're going to pay you. You know what I mean? They got to pay you. I think a lot of that riffraff's going to be out. I think a lot of the running off with the checks and stuff, that's not going to happen with private equity because they're going to prosecute you and they're going to do the roofs. So I think all that riffraff stuff's out. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to professionalize it. And if you go work for, everybody's so against private. I love private equity. Whatever, bro. If you go work for them and you go turn in 100 roofs, they're going to pay you on all 100. If you can feel good. I don't care what platform you're on. They're all of them are good. If you're going to sit there, if you're going to do a roof, it's going to be warranted. You see what I'm saying? So you're selling a product that's going to be warranted. You're selling a product that you're going to get paid on. Private equity is going to do nothing but add value to the industry.
Got it. You partnered with SVG, right? That's where we first met. And obviously you're a partner with Josie, that he bought the company a couple of years ago. What's your vision for SVG in the future? I know you've been rewriting the courses. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so rewriting the courses, we've already filmed about 60 of them. They'll be out before the end of the year, so that's my little promo commercial. Sign up now. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, just the virtual training aspect of it. We do on sites. Alton is out there doing the on sites on the states I can't go to. If I can go to your state, I'll go out there and climb with your team for 2 days. I think it's gonna just catch the industry up. All these secrets that we had and this culture that we built got bought for a lot of money, and now we're actually going to be able to put it out there. I was just a little bit too young to retire. I want to do one more little thing, and SVG will be my little send off into I guess the retirement home eventually, right? The 55 and over community here about 7 years. But I think it'll catch the industry up, and they'll have a tool for pennies on the dollar on the value that it brings. You'll learn what the companies did to get to 9 figures, and that's the vision of it. And it's not just the process; it's the culture and also the habits and traits that $1 million producers have. That the traits and the character that managers have that run $20 million teams. You'll be able to learn it on there.
Got it. Got it. What's the single best piece of advice for lead generation? Like if you're and for marketing, like if you're running a roofing business, a home service business, what's the single best way to generate leads? What do you think that you've seen it work over and over?
Knock doors, social media, SEO, Google guarantee, mailers, and referrals. If you check, I mean, we're building roofs, not rocket ships. So I mean, if you check all those boxes, then I mean, you're going to be and go to work. And if a storm hits Friday, buddy, don't let that man-made calendar trick you out of your money. You better go work Saturday and Sunday, hot rod. Go to work and check all those boxes, and you'll be just fine. There's no magic pill, though, right? There's no magic pill. Relationships with marketing companies, that's a marriage. It's a long-term play. You can buy lead packs to get you out of a hole, but when you build a brand, you got to build a relationship with a marketing company. That's going to be 3 to 5 years. It's going to be 2 years before you start seeing any real results. Anybody that promises you instant gratification, that's lead packs. Marketing, building a relationship with a marketing company is a 2, 3, 5 year process.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. You mentioned 8 ways to generate leads, right? 8 ways to get customers, right? One of the things you mentioned was Google local service ads. Obviously, you guys have done a great job on reviews, right? You have, like, I saw one location has 1,600 reviews. I'm sure in total it's over 2,000 or more than that, right? Probably, right? That's not common. That's very uncommon in the industry. How did you get your team to start getting? Because that's a very common challenge for a lot of people that I talk to, right? How did you do that?
Yeah, you run contests. Who can get the most reviews this month? Pays $200, pays $500, pays $1,000. That's pennies in roofing. $1,000 in roofing, you let it blow out the window. So if you run a contest with 60 guys who can get their most reviews for $1,000, 16, we should have, I didn't even know that because I've been so out of the loop after I sold. That should be 3,000 reviews for the roofs that we did. But you run the contest, and see who can get the most reviews. That's one of the biggest ways to do it, and it just make it part of the process. When you're asking for referrals after we did a good job, you ask for, hey, can you give me 3 referrals, and can you write me a review? That's just common. That's just part of the sales process. That shouldn't be. There's no magic in that, right? That's just poor leadership if you're not asking for them.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to make sure that you guys understand what he just said, right? He has his companies, right? He said 3,000 reviews. If you're going to enter that market, because some markets have gotten very competitive, you're just competing against companies like that to have 3,000 reviews. It's going to be much harder for you. You're starting like really from the beginning, 50 to 100 reviews. So it's going to take time, man. It's not going to, that 3,000 reviews did not come over like in a year. It came for years. It came a long time to get there. So I want you guys to understand that point, because it's important for you guys to interpret that, because you're building reviews. It's not overnight, right? It's going to take over time to get there, and that will help everything. Will help SEO, will help you with Google local service ads, will help you with getting more. When somebody sees that you have a 4.9 rating and a salesperson pulls that up, it's going to help them make more sales, right? It's going to help them more sales. You have a 4.9 rating, you have amazing reviews. Isn't it much easier for your sales guys to sell that when you have that?
Yeah, you got to have that. And there's no even start SEO until you have 100 reviews. You got to have 100 reviews before you do any SEO. You're peeing in the wind. Yeah, and then if you're going to work for a company and you're one of these retreads that done hopped around a couple times, and they don't have no reviews, but they're going to give you a 70-30 split with no reviews, start your own.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for contractors who want to grow and scale and maybe one day exit, what's the single best piece of advice you can give them?
Keep clean books. That's the number one advice. Figure out how to sell 10 million. Stay in the field until there's something to balance. You might be $2-3 million producer, but you might not be a businessman. When you're a roofing salesperson and you're a $2-3 million producer, you stay in the field and you hire office people to do office stuff. You're in the field. The only way you're going to scale is duplicating yourself as many times as possible. Do not leave that field until you get over $10 million and you've already built the next group of leaders that can take it from there. People want to start their own company so they can spend more time with their family. That's not how it works. If you're a $2-3 million producer and you think you're going to start a roofing company, you're going to have to continue to be a $2 or $3 million producer until you have about 5 or 6 $2 or $3 million producers that you can start recruiting to put guys up under, and then you maybe can go to little Johnny's T-ball game.
Got it. Raymond, where do people find you?
Well, on Facebook, Raymond Little, or Instagram. I think it's RW612. I don't really do Instagram. I'm a little bit older. Facebook's paid my bills so good for so many years. I'm a doom scroller, and if you do message me, 99% of the time I do message you right back because I'm just doom scrolling from retirement.
Yeah. And Raymond's very active on Facebook, right? So you can find them on Facebook. Also SVG, right? SVG.
Yeah, SVG, 100%. That's coming out in December. Been out on the West Coast filming in Arizona. Been in Dallas filming. Been an awesome experience. I love climbing and selling roofs. And I enjoy just building something. I enjoy making money and stuff too, but this industry saved my life, so I like to give back to it.
Awesome, man. Amazing. Raymond, thank you, man, for your time. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for listening to AI and Marketing for Home Service Pros. If you got value from today's episode, do us a favor. Follow the show, share it with a contractor friend, and leave a quick review. Want help using AI or smarter marketing to grow your business? Head to contractormarketingpros.net and book your free strategy call.